Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,500 exhibitors, the biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. And we're just getting started. Ready to jump into some gameplay? Then get set for Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring the major announcements and brand new game trailers. Less watching, more playing? Then stop by Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from beloved indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indies, our show featuring the hottest new titles from the scene. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom Cosplay Contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Join live shows, esports tournaments, and creator events at the Gamescom Event Arena. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website gamescom.global and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. While you're there, make your voice count in the Gamescom Award. Vote for the most exciting games, groundbreaking products, and jaw-dropping innovations presented here at Gamescom. Do you remember our incredible friends and gaming experts from IGN? Of course, they're back, hosting full days of Gamescom studio live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, AP, crashing the party. You'll find our all-time favorite RPG Gamescom epics on our website. Join the community and grab your loot. Now moving on to something that is very important to us, our initiative Gamescom Cares. We want to shine a light on social and environmental responsibility. In order to reduce emissions, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. Just as important, accessibility is key for us. Gamescom should be a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Speaking of inclusive spaces, the Gamescom City Festival is taking over the city with live music, awesome shows, and all kinds of fun. Did we mention? Entry to the City Festival is free for everyone. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to Gamescom.
Gamescom 2025 is here. Today on IGN's Gamescom Studio,
Heard you were rounding up some vault hunters.
Borderlands 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Where Winds Meet, Ninja Gaiden 4, and so much more. Day one of IGN's coverage of Gamescom 2025 starts right now.
And welcome to Gamescom Studio 2025. I'm Jane Douglas here with Brian Altano and Max Scoville. Welcome to Gamescom.
Hey, Gamescom! Yes. We're doing it.
Last night's Opening Night Live kicked off the show with a bunch of awesome new trailers and reveals, and over the next few days we'll be getting an even closer look at some of the biggest games right here on Gamescom Studio, including Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, and so much more.
Lego Batman looks incredible, and we cannot wait to talk to the people making it this week. If you see a game that you like on our Gamescom show this week, show some love to the developers by wishlisting their game on Steam through the official Gamescom Steam event, and also discover tons more games that are also worth checking out. It's a great place to track all of the biggest game announcements coming out of Gamescom.
But now let's check in with Damon on the stage for a look at what's coming up next.
What's up, everybody? You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. Today is the exhibitor day here at Gamescom, which is sort of the calm before the storm, but as the week goes on, things are going to get absolutely crazy out here. Coming up, we're checking in on Call of Duty Black Ops 7. After that, we're going hands-on with the upcoming portable Xbox, the ROG Ally X. Then we're talking to the folks behind the big new third-person action game Where Winds Meet, and then we're talking to the creators of the Capcom action sci-fi game Pragmata. All that and more right here on Gamescom Studio, but right now, let's check in with Ian out on the show floor.
Well, welcome to Gamescom 2025. It's a brand new show, And for the 500,000 people expected to pass through its gates, there is plenty of games to play and plenty of things to do right here on the show floor, including the ROG Xbox Ally. Or is that the ROG Xbox Ally? Or just the Xbox Ally? I don't know. But what I do know is that later on we'll be chatting to its developers. And we'll also be checking out the big Capcom threesome. That's Pragmata, Onimusha Way of the Sword, and of course, Resident Evil Requiem. So if you want to find out what we think of those, make sure to stay tuned to IGN.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. Later this year, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is taking us back to the future, picking up 10 years after the events of Black Ops 2 in the year 2035. Here to give us a history lesson on the not-too-distant future, Associate Creative Director Miles Leslie of Treyarch and Natalie Pohorsky, lead producer for Raven. Welcome, folks.
Oh,
Excited
thank
to be
you.
here.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
All right, so Black Ops 7, bringing back David Mason. So we haven't seen him for a little while, not since Black Ops 2.
We have not.
Why are we bringing him back?
So much story there.
Yeah, there's a lot. How much time do we have?
Yeah.
I think the quick version is we left David in a really hard place at the end of Black Ops 2. There were branching storylines, so we've never really confirmed what really happened. Black Ops 7 will really cement that. We're not going to spoil it right now. We want you to get into it. But he's a character that has really deep, really emotional scars, but physical scars and what he went through. And we always knew we wanted to go back to tell that story of after Raul Menendez and the 2025 attacks, what happened to the world and what happened to David. There was so much depth there that it was just right for telling this story with David as sort of the, I would say, the anchor to the story.
Okay. Now, Black Ops has historically drawn on mysterious, actual real historical elements like MK Ultra, numbers stations, various geopolitical events. Where are you drawing your inspiration for Black Ops 7 this time, now that it's set in the kind of future?
Oh, I love that question.
I know. Well, it is the near future, and we're also building on Black Ops 2. So there's sort of an extrapolation of where we'll be in the next 10 years and also where we've been.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We like to tap into the zeitgeist, and I think for us, it's really this fear of really the world on itself is fearful, and really that's being pushed. And Black Ops 7 really leans into that fear is when the world is in a chaotic state and you don't know who to trust, even yourself, which I feel is very, relatable. That's the main story that we're diving into, and you're going to get all your twists and turns and your mind bending like you would expect from Black Ops.
Yeah, now fear has, especially of late, been kind of a theme for Black Ops. And in the recent trailer, we've seen not just fear, but more of the hallucinatory, head trippy stuff. Looks a little bit like scarecrow fear toxin type scenario. Can you speak to that? How much psychological horror are we going to have in Black Ops 7?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah. I feel
much can we say?
Yeah. In Black Ops 6, we had a certain mission that was more in that, survival horror realm.
Yeah.
And we had a blast with it. We know players loved it. So part of this is just the thematic storytelling of digging further into that. It allows us to dig into Mason's brain and where he's at. And then part of it is just we had so much fun with it in the past, and we want to bring more of that back.
Yeah, it was a new way, and I think to Natalie's point is we developed BO6, BO7 together, and so we knew where both games were going, and we wanted to make sure they stood on their own as really chunky, big games. And so that fear angle you're talking about, Scarecrow and Batman, it was a huge sort of inspiration on how to mess with people and really bubble up their own fears and regrets and memories. And David and his team and other characters in the game, they get that manifest. They get to experience that, and it's traumatic and also bombastic and blockbuster moments.
Yeah, it allows for a lot of spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
Playing with that kind of warped reality stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, every entry in the Black Ops series has added something new to the way you play campaign. I want to say maybe here, Endgame is going to be the big thing for changing up campaign. Can you tell us about Endgame?
We can, yeah. I want to start with co-op campaign on its own. Already huge innovation.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've really done that. This story really demanded that because we wanted to put players into the 4 squad, David and his team, and feel immersed in that. And then to your point is after,
it's really sort of, I would say, the final proving ground, the epilogue of the campaign is you get this ending. Everything you've built is now into the end game, and we really wanted to break the rules of the campaign. We've constantly been how to push ourselves and break the mold, and it's a social experience. PvE, you and 32 other players, squads of 4, and all of the abilities and all of the different twists and turns kind of come to a head in this, again, this final proving ground. It's a lot of fun and very different, but on purpose.
Yeah, and then at this point, you've spent a lot of time in Avalon, also outside of Avalon as well, but you're back in Avalon, you know this map, you know where you want to go, and it's going to be, a great experience.
It all opens up now to Natalie's point where, through the linear missions, you go to Avalon, you experience little bite size of it, but we're really like teasing it, and now it all opens up. Where do you and your squad want to go?
Okay, and you're making progress and you're unlocking things that can be carried over into other parts of the game?
Yeah, so it's really about survival. So we wanted to your point about the mind bending and fear and hallucinations is part of the story. And sort of you saw it in the trailer, you kind of get hit with this toxin and that really starts to manifest these fears. Endgame ramps that up. There are difficulties that you have to progress through. And the fun and challenging part is you and your squad have to push through these difficulty zones and you get to level up. So we have a operator leveling where you can try to get to level 60 and it's about gaining power. And narratively we have sort of this thing called a C-link, cerebral link, and it's like basically plugged into your brain where it's learning from your enemies. And so the more you fight, the stronger you get and you learn from them and you get amazing abilities. You saw some of this in trailer like Mega Jump and some other things that really allow you and your squad to get bombastic moments.
Yeah, the Mega Jump's like a multi-story jump, like superpower stuff.
And you can chain it into the wingsuit, right?
Yeah.
You can grapple into it. So you start to chain all these things, and that's where you've learned to use these through the campaign. And then now it's like, okay, here's the toy box. How do you want to approach it?
All right. You mentioned co-op. Can you tell us about how co-op is going to be integrated into the campaign? Like, how are you going to manage like difficulty for co-op players?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I could dive in if you want to go.
Yeah, I think Endgame is where we get into a bit more of that. But from the beginning, again, we're putting you in with these 4 characters of the story. We want you all to be experiencing it at the same time, going through these linear missions. And so that's really the focus. I mean, you can the characters and your teammates can focus on a particular area in the gameplay. But that's where that really comes in.
Yeah, and for the difficulty is we've baked it in. So solo players, we've built it for solo or for a squad as well. You cannot pick difficulty like past games. We've baked it in because you have to approach co-op campaign differently. And we wanted to make sure the missions felt right for solo players. We're not forgetting about you. We love you. But also because it is a social experience, we want to make sure it's fun, but the right amount of challenging for 2, 3, and 4 players as well.
Okay. All right. Switching gears a little bit. We saw a little bit of what looks like Dead Ops in the trailer. What can you tell us about Dead Ops?
Let's see. What can I tell you? It's over the top.
Yeah.
Literally over the top, I like saying that, but it's also really fun. And I think the other major thing, and this is really ties to the whole game, is it's rewarding. So for the first time when you're playing Dead Ops, you can progress your global progression. And so one of the big things in the game across all of Black Ops 7 is we want to reward the player's time. So it doesn't matter where you are. You're in Dead Ops, you're in Zombies, you're in multiplayer, you're in co-op campaign, you're in endgame, you are progressing your global progression. And that's huge for players because we know they never want to feel like their time's wasted. We heard you. Go play with your friends anywhere and you'll be rewarded.
Okay, and Zombies more broadly, it's back, it's round-based?
It's back, it's round-based. It's the biggest RBZ map you've ever seen in your life. It's outrageous. I love saying this because the zombie team's like, hey, the story's crazier. And it's like, crazier? Really? Yeah, like how? They did it. It's outrageous. It's amazing. And then the original crew is back, but not as you would expect.
Okay, interesting. I just wanted to shout out because we were looking at multiplayer and you've got a score streak and it's like a Boston Dynamics robot dog.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to shout that out. It's like that. It looks perfect, but with a turret on it because the original big dog didn't have like a mounted turret.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good catch, and that's a sort of a deep cut to the back to the story is in 2025, Black Ops 2, we had the Claw, which was like that robotic. This is sort of the evolution of that is the dog. Yeah, it has ginormous rockets on it. It's also really cool. It can go in sentry mode, and it has a trophy system on it, so it feels, again, more like you're connected to that technology, and you and your squad can use it. But it's a beast in the campaign. It's a beast in multiplayer as well.
All right. right, very cool. Excited for the robot dog. Switching gears once again, right, Tiam, the Battlefield 4 beta has had 500,000 concurrents on Steam. Obviously, a lot of interest in that game, very popular. That's topping Call of Duty's record. How is Call of Duty going to stay fresh in the face of some stiff competition, some new competition?
Yeah, I think for us is we play all games, right? You know, and I'm not going to say we didn't play it. We had fun playing it. But for us is it's focusing on what we do best. And really, the passion from the team is coming through in Black Ops 7. I hope that's coming through from the team. We're focusing on our own thing. And, you know, when we're having fun and we're listening to the feedback, we think we've got something special here, and we think fans are really going to like it.
All right. And how is that success of the Battlefield 4 beta, how is it affecting your decision-making, or is that kind of set aside?
Yeah, it's not, right? Like, we're focusing on our own thing, you know, so for us, it's like, let's stay the course. And again, where we're iterating and having fun, we know our path and our vision from the game. We've been working on this a while, and we're really just executing on that.
All right. Since we're running low on time, what do you have in Black Ops 7 that wasn't possible before, that you couldn't include ever before?
I love that question. I think
Couldn't include before.
I think for me the main one is the social experience. For the first time now, you and a squad of 4 can literally play all parts of the game, and that is something we have been dreaming about, is how to do that. When was the right time to do it? And so, like, we'll literally be in playtest and be like, let's go play co-op campaign. And we're like, okay, let's take a break. And now we're in zombies. Okay, let's take a break from that. Now we're in multiplayer. Let's take a break from that. Now we're in endgame. Let's take a break from that. Now we're in DOA. And so it's really amazing.
You can jump around.
You can jump around. And for us, it was really keeping the squad together, because we know this is a community. We want players to stay together throughout the entire game.
Yeah, we're all different types of players. We know there's a lot of different players out there. I'm a single player girly, and I got so excited about campaign. I also love that we get to tell a character-driven story. We care a lot about the lore, and we care a lot about our characters, obviously, as you can tell, but being able to focus on these key areas and key memories, all of that is just so exciting to me.
All right, very, very cool. Thanks so much. Thanks for your time today. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 hits all the Xboxes, both the PlayStations and PC on November 14th. But stick around, there's more Gamescom Studio coming up right here on IGN.
Welcome to Gamescom. We're here at the Asus booth to talk to Galip Fu about the new Xbox Ally consoles. We're super excited to learn more about them. So could you just explain what are the two models and how are they different? Who are they intended to be used for?
Yeah, thanks, Will. So this time together with Xbox, then we're launching two very good models. And the first one is the white one. You know, it's called the RG Xbox Ally. It's the base model, offer immersive 720p gaming experience for most of the game titles. And the other one is the premium model, the black one, the RG Xbox Ally X. So it basically offers a superior gaming experience for all the AAA titles in 1080p quality and also a long battery life. So I think together with both models, then we're trying to penetrate into more of the console part of the market, and also the our strength where is the PC gamer part of market. And right now, I think based on all the feedback and also the reaction, you know, from the media friends and also the users, we believe that this will be something that definitely people will love to purchase in the holiday season.
The new models being as more an upgrade option for people that have already got a PC handheld, or do you see it more as something that's exposing to a whole new market and trying to really expand the number of people that consider these devices?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Will. I think it's both, because I think first starting from the hardware perspective, and as we RG, you know, as the hardware expert in PC gaming, of course, in terms of the hardware part, we also do some good upgrade. I think the first part that you definitely can feel is about the overall ergonomics of the device that inspired by the Xbox controller. So this time, for our design of the holding, then intuitively you can feel this is just like an authentic Xbox experience. So the feel is so good and even better than our previous model, even though based on the community feedback, our ergonomic design of the previous model already good, but this time will make it even better. And some of the design details will also make it more exquisite. And I think that'll be also appealing to most of the gamer.
Sure.
Yeah, and on the other hand, I think overall gaming experience, and that is what Xbox they are good at, right? So we're working closely, we're working very hard, try to get the authentic Xbox experience onto the device. So everything starting from the user interface and how you choose to launch the game in the library, and for the game experience, it is 100% Xbox experience. So if we combine two together, then it's like the unicorn in the market. It's something that I think if we compare with the current landscape of the PC handheld gaming market, we're doing something really different, totally different, and we believe that this will be something that everyone should get their hands on to experience in Gamescom. Yeah.
You mentioned the ergonomics before.
Yeah.
Is there anything inside the processor that would require more cooling, anything like that, or is it more just a refinement of the ergonomics purely from a user experience point of view?
Yeah, so I think for this part of design changes is basically mainly because of the reason I just mentioned. We want to offer an even better ergonomics. So just imagine, it's like we split the Xbox controller into two halves and then combine into a PC game handheld. And then for the controller itself, it is thicker by nature because it is more comfortable to hold. So that is the main reason why I think the overall thickness increased a little bit, but not the weight actually. So when you hold it, I think you just experienced that earlier, right? So when you hold it, it feels just so good. So actually, you don't feel it's just several millimeters thicker, but actually also based on our study and also our discussion with the community, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that much, for those several millimeter thickness if the overall ergonomics is to another level.
Sure. Right.
So that is our direction in improving, the overall hardware and also the ergonomic experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is this model faster than the previous Ally X? And if so, about how much? You have an idea?
Yeah, I would say we are still working very hard, with Xbox team to optimize everything, right? No matter the software experience, the gaming experience, the hardware experience. So I think for the precise figures or numbers, that is something that later on, just stay tuned with us. Later on, that we will just give a very clear projection, to the public, so everyone will know the performance leap, from the previous generation. But as of now, we focus more on the gaming experience. So right now, just like what you have experienced on the base model and also the premium model, I think in terms of the pure gaming experience, let's forget about those frame rate or some other part of benchmark. If when we are thinking about the from the PC gaming mindset, we're offering right now at this stage that everyone can just experience by themselves an authentic and very good gaming experience.
All right, fascinating stuff. So thanks very much for joining us, and stick with us for more Gamescom 2025 coverage as it occurs.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins. What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
This is Gamescom Studio right here on IGN, where Winds Meet was one of the biggest games of the show when it was revealed back in 2022, and it's been high on a lot of players' wish lists ever since. Here to share some wisdom about this epic kung fu open world, I'm joined by Eric Zhang, head of Where Winds Meets Publishing, and Raven, who will be doing the translating for us. Hi, guys.
Hi, I'm Eric.
Hi, Eric. So, you know, it might be helpful if I had my card with me. So how's the closed beta feedback and its release in China helped with its upcoming release?
好，那么首先就是你们上一轮 CBT 的这个反馈就是怎么样，以及它对于你们接下来在中国这边的运营就是有怎么样的影响？
首先我们上一轮收获了非常惊喜的反馈，不管是我们产品的一个后台的实时数据，还是说我们喜爱我们的玩家们在 SNS 上的各种分享和发言，都对我们游戏表达了非常热烈的反馈。那一方面这些热情呢，也让我们决定要加紧我们的速度，尽快完成我们产品的一个上线，早日与大家去见面。
Right. So we've had a lot of surprising feedback from players, and it's all very exciting. Both in terms of all the data we collected on the back end, but also in terms of all of the comments that players had for us on all the social media. And it's been very exciting for us, and it's also been a factor in making us decide to push forward the release date to deliver the game earlier to players.
That's always good news. Earlier is always better. How about Black Myth Wukong? What about that game and other Chinese action-adventure games has influenced either your game design or your release strategy in the West?
好，这当然能够早点上线，我们大家都非常殷切的希望能够见到。那么我们谈谈《黑神话：悟空》之前这款游戏，像这款游戏以及其他的中国的这些动作冒险游戏，是对于你们游戏的这个开发本身和在西方推出这方面有没有怎么样的影响？
首先我们非常高兴的看到有越来越多受欢迎的游戏作品的推出，那我们也当然非常希望自己也能成为其中的一员。那但是呢，我们产品其实从2019年就已经开始立项了。那对于这样一个如何把武侠和开放世界融合好的这样的一个挑战，其实是前所未有的。所以我们在这段时间里面，就是一直以来更多的可能会关注我们自己怎么样把这样的一个产品表达好。那其实像中国武侠小说有句话叫做坚守本心方能成就大道。所以我们一直以来也是想办法如何更多的去完成自己的这样一个挑战的一个命题。
Right. So first of all, I'm really happy for all of the games that all of these amazing games that have been developed and been released and been so welcomed by the player population. As for our own game, we started this project originally in 2019. So a lot of our thoughts were concerned on the idea of how to implement our theme of wuxia and to have it integrate, fuse seamlessly with the open world. So a lot of our focus throughout the last 5 years has been how exactly to make the game exactly the way we want. And so like we like to say back in the day in China, you have to kind of stick by your original aspirations in order to walk the grand path to its end, to have this grand achievement in the end.
Excellent. Yeah, you got to stay true to yourself, right?
Yes.
So Where Winds Meet is set during the 10th century China, an era Chinese audiences are probably familiar with, but Western audiences may not. How do you go about introducing Western players to historical figures, innate cultural references, and localization and onboarding?
那好了，因为这个游戏我们知道它时代是发生在第10世纪，那对于中国人、中国玩家来说，可能对于这个时代是会比较熟悉的。但是对于对这个历史没有什么了解的西方玩家来说，你要怎么样去给他们介绍，通过本地化或者是什么翻译的方式去给他们介绍这个时代的一些背景人物啊，还有一些文化的一些援引啊，等等。
首先可能我想补充一点，就这个朝代呢，可能不仅说对于很多西方的玩家，可能包括中国的很多玩家对这个朝代的涉猎也比较少，因为它在中国的一些文学作品或者电影电视剧里面改编的数量，对比熟知的唐朝、宋朝是非常少的。对，所以那我们其实面临的任务呢，我觉得都是一样的，如何把这个朝代里面这些非常有时代张力的英雄的故事能够好好的讲给我们全球的玩家去听，这一直是我们的一个任务和挑战。那具体到我们怎么样让海外的玩家去理解很多比如说武侠的或者说朝代的一个背景呢，我觉得其实这里面我们也有很多是源自于玩家给我们的一些建议。对，然后包括可能给您举一个非常有意思的例子，就是我们游戏里面的时间在中国是用的中国传统的计时，就子丑寅卯这样一个非常传统的计时方式，但是我们考虑到可能海外的用户比较难去理解这样的一个设计，所以我们把它转换成了动物的形式，比如说子就对应的是老鼠，它就是中国传统的12生肖，那我们用这样的一些图案去表达呢，就能更好的让用户理解这背后的一个含义，同时保留原本的原汁原味的韵味。
Right. So to dovetail off of the comment that you just made, I think it's not just about Western players, but even for Chinese players, I think the 5 Dynasties and 10 States period of time is a very niche period in history because due to the fact that it has less depictions, both in terms of cultural media and also in terms of films and movies, films and TV. So much less so than the more well-known Tang and Song dynasties. So I think our goal for both is essentially the same, is namely in how we would tell this heroic story with this tension of the spirit of the times, how we would deliver that to both our domestic audiences and a global audience. So I think focusing a little bit more on Western players, I think a lot of the feedback from players that we've garnered has been very helpful toward us being able to localize all of these cultural, I guess, elements or historic elements to them. So as for instance, in-game, to kind of preserve the authenticity of the era, we use a time and hour system that's based on, these different characters that correspond to each hour instead of 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. But that turned out to be something that's very hard to kind of localize for Western audiences. So what we did instead is we associated each character, these hours, to a different animal. So these correspond to the 12 animals that correspond to each year. So that's what we did.
Excellent. So diving a little bit into the gameplay, the world seems massive from what I've seen video-wise. How much freedom do we have when exploring how much freedom do we have while exploring the world?
好，那讲一讲游戏玩法方面。我们知道这个游戏的世界是非常的庞大，那么玩家在进行世界探索的时候，自由度有多大？
这个自由度其实我们是非常大的。那当然，我们提供了非常多选择给我们玩家，就是我们单人游戏大概有150个小时的时长可以去体验。当然，这个时间不是说你必须要去完成，而是你可以按你的兴趣去做。那我们的开放度呢，除了玩家可以自由的学习各种武学去战斗以外，我们在生活层面和 NPC 的交互上也有大量的这样的一些自由的玩法可以去做。举个例子，比如说我们游戏里面的 NPC， 你跟他交谈的内容可能会影响这个 NPC 的一个好感度。那如果你和他交恶的话，这 NPC 可能会来攻击你，甚至可能带动他全村一起来追赶你。对，然后当然你也可以选择正当防卫，防卫之后可能呢也会有官府来追你，那你也可以选择呢就是就此逃离远遁，但可能你跟这 NPC 的关系呢就会发生一些有趣的变化。
Right. So we offer a great deal of freedom in terms of letting the player be able to explore this huge world as they will. And we also give them a lot of choices in this regard. So we know that the single player campaign, it has a total of around 150 hours of content. So none of this is mandatory. You don't have to play all of it, but players can, based on their pace and their enjoyment of the narrative, they can choose to play the single player campaign at their own leisure. And in terms of the freedom, in terms of this freedom of this open world, I think it also extends to also the player's ability ability to learn whatever abilities and skills they want to build the kind of the combat mechanics, the type of combat styles that they want. But it also, on top of all of that, it's also kind of exemplified in the way that players are able to interact with the non-player characters. So for instance, when you engage in dialogue with a random villager, you have an internal reputation system that goes along with that. So by saying the wrong things to them, it could lead to you having such a poor reputation that they decide to become hostile essentially to you, and they might even attack you or lead their entire village to go ham, to go aggressive on your ass. So and in those situations, you could choose to defend yourself, which could in turn lead to law enforcement trying to arrest you. So that could cause a whole chain reaction of these interesting interactions.
I feel like I'm going to have a lot of fun just angering a lot of people and just having a bunch of people chasing me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, with that, so where does Where Winds Meet release?
好，我想我也是迫不及待的希望就是能够看到就是全村人追赶我的那个喜剧画面。那么燕云16神它的是准备什么时候推出？什么时候上线？
在这里我们也给大家宣布一个非常重要的消息，就是我们已经决定在11月14日太平洋时间正式上线。所以现在呢，大家就可以去我们的游戏官网、PlayStation、Steam 以及 Epic 商城进行预约以及添加心愿单。非常期待届时与各位玩家在游戏的世界里面相逢。谢谢。
Right. So on that front, we do have an exciting announcement to make. Our game will be officially releasing on November the 14th Pacific time. So we would welcome all of you to go to our official site, to go to the PlayStation or Steam and Epic storefronts to pre-register and wishlist our game, if you will. And we will see you all in game very soon.
That's amazing. November 14th. Eric, thank you so much. Where Winds Meets will be coming to PS5 and PC next year. Coming out in November 14th. But you can wishlist it right now on Steam at the official Gamescom Steam event. There's more Gamescom Studio on the way right here on IGN.
This is Gamescom Studio. Coming up very soon, we've got closer looks at a couple upcoming Capcom games, the brand new sci-fi third-person shooter Pragmata, and the latest entry in the Onimusha series, Way of the Sword. But first, here is Valheim, Call to Arms.
A lost great wolf in the black forest of...
Tired of cutting cheese? Get the sword...
Looking out for enemies.
do this.
We're here at Gamescom 2025 and we're at the Capcom booth where we've checked out Pragmata. As you can see here, Matt, what the hell is Pragmata?
It's Capcom's first new IP for a while, and you play as a guy called Hugh, who's the guy in the spacesuit with all the armor on it. And basically, it's a third-person shooter that's a little bit more weird than you'd normally expect, because you have like this weird kid on your shoulder and she hacks things for you.
Oh, she's an android though, specifically, right?
Yeah,
an android.
Not an actual kid. Like it's not kind of child endangerment in space or anything. But yeah, essentially the idea is every enemy has to be hacked before you can damage them.
Yeah.
So the way that this happens is you aim down sights, and when you do that, like a grid appears on screen, and it's basically kind of like a small hacking mini game where you have to go from like point A to point B, snake it around using the face buttons to get this line to the exit point. And then when that happens, essentially you're all weapons free, and you can damage the enemy with your variety of guns that you pick up.
Yeah, so interestingly, I noticed as well, that may sound like intense to a person, like having to, before you even fire a shot, having to do this mini game, but the enemies, well, at least what we've played, are quite slow moving, and also gives you a nice window to like actually focus on the mini game while you're doing it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think they've kind of had to rethink how shooting works in a third-person shooter. It's not like Vanquish or kind of something like Doom Eternal, where the way that they rethought how shooting would work is they sped things up. This actually really slows things down. So from what we played, you're only going up against like maybe 2 enemies at a time, and because you're only up against 2 enemies, you've got that time to go through the mini game. The harder the enemies are, the kind of harder the mini game becomes, but never really that challenging. That's my only kind of like concern of what we've played so far, is after you've done it like 2 or 3 times, it sort of instantly becomes second nature to do those mini games. I do worry that like it's put an extra cog in the machine, but is that really going to make a massive difference to the way this plays?
Yeah, I think it felt unique and different at first, but even from our demo, which was about 15 minutes or so, I kind of already found myself getting a bit tired of the process, and I'm wondering what they can do in the later game to like really spice up that thing. Obviously what we saw in the demo is that you can take quick options, so there's paths where you can choose where you don't activate every element, but it's enough to do a certain amount of damage, but then there's also longer paths where you can snake around, which really like open up the potential there. And I'm wondering what sort of extra elements we're going to see on that grid as the game progresses.
Yeah, as you explore the area, you do find these, I guess, for lack of a better term, you pick up different hacks that then plot themselves on the grid. So it's a case of, as long as you move your line through that hack, you'll get extra damage, or it will reduce kind of like the defenses of the enemy. I'd be really interested to see just how kind of like weird and wild they get later on, or whether it is very purely just attack and defense kind of buffs and debuffs.
Yeah, at the end of the demo we also saw something a little bit more interesting in terms of combat, which was a big boss battle. He kind of looked like I forget the name, Ed something from RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we played it, I played it a little bit different to you. I was sneaking around the back and shooting a weak spot, but you were engaging it head on every time. Like,
yeah, there's definitely like those weak spots on the back, which I guess is a bit more of a traditional way you do a boss, right? Find the weak spot, shoot that, wait to get to the next stage. I went for like a full frontal attack, which did mean, I don't know if you had to hack through multiple layers of security, whereas like normal enemies you hack them once and then you can kill them. This guy required me to go like 3 or 4 different routes through there, but then yeah, I was able to overheat the enemy and then do kind of like effectively a quick time attack where Hugh would launch himself onto the back of the enemy and do kind of like, you know, like 4,000 damage, blow armor panels off it.
We didn't really get to see much of what the story is or what these characters are. We just got a small introduction to them. I'm going to be honest, like, feels a bit uninspired at the moment, perhaps. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic with having a little android girl on your shoulder the entire time. There's a companion there, but I wasn't getting a sense of the relationship so far. What do you think we can see, maybe?
I sort of think, like, the smart thing I think about it is that the mechanics of the game build a symbiotic relationship between Diana the girl and Hugh the guy. They literally can't live without each other because one needs to hack and the other one needs to shoot. She can't damage and he can't damage without her. Whether that like builds into an interesting like narrative relationship, whether it, you know, kind of like, I think of characters like Joel and Ellie, they are very dependent on each other in The Last of Us, and that creates like an interesting perspective on that relationship. whether this has that chops, we got to see, if I could even say half a cutscene. It felt so minimal in what this demo had to offer. I hope there's a lot more to see, which will eventually pull me around on what are quite clinical characters at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the only thing that's clinical, right? The location that you're exploring is very, like, as you can see from behind us, it's very white, it's very sterile. We're not sure if that's going to be the entire game consists of that sort of stuff, but I was kind of like losing my way a little bit. There wasn't really a map system, but we did get to do a little bit of exploration, but I know I did, and you also found a little bit of a tricky time, like actually finding where the last thing we needed was.
Yeah, definitely. Like this demo is set on this lunar base, which is kind of breaking down, and you need to power up sections of the facility. And that's kind of all I got about what this facility did. I know that it is powered by something, but it's not like, so for example, when I think of like interesting derelict kind of space bases, I think of something like in Dead Space when you're exploring that spaceship, and every area of it feels like it's, okay, I'm in the medical ward, I'm in the engineering bay. This feels a little bit more kind of like wholesale spaceship. There's no individual feeling of tailored environments, and that did mean that kind of like I lost myself a lot of the time. And without a map, like, you cannot open a map, you only have the ability to pulse the environment and add a waypoint, which isn't a waypoint that kind of retracts itself as you're going around. You just have to follow that as the crow flies, basically. And I did find myself getting very turned around, sort of like returning to the same environments over and over and being like, I think I've been here, but I can't quite tell because everything feels a bit the same.
So interestingly, we also got a taste of a few weapons, and most of these demos you usually get the traditional weapons like a handgun equivalent, a shotgun equivalent, but there was also, I forget what it's called, but it was also one that sort of fired almost like a gravitational pull, or less a gravitational pull, but more like a freezing net action, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a stasis gun, and it shoots out kind of like a holographic dome net, I suppose, and the idea is that the enemies get caught in it, and I suppose the benefit there is why you may hack them and use the hacking minigame to stall the enemies to get them to stay in place so you can shoot them. This gun effectively does that for you and bypasses what maybe you'd need to do that through hacking.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how many of those kind of like side function weapons exist in this game, because the other stuff that we had was a very basic 6-shot pistol, and it was called the shockwave gun. It was effectively like an energy shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, like fairly traditional weapon staples.
I do think that third weapon though really, like, it teases us with the idea that maybe this could be a game full of unique weapons and unique opportunities, and that's what I'm kind of looking for, really, because I already felt like a little bit of a samey action within a small slice, so I'm really hoping that the game can open out and go some weird places. I mean, it's a weird premise, right? You want it to go weird places.
Yeah, what I want to see is not just in like the other weapons, but in the environment design as well. There is a really cool idea at the center of this game, which is that let's take third-person shooting and augment it, like rethink how that works. We slow it down, we reduce the amount of enemies, but we make each enemy harder to defeat because you have to do this hacking minigame. I kind of want that sort of level of thinking everywhere through the game. I want the environment to require more thought. I want the weapons to not just be things that shoot bullets. I want them to have odd and interesting techniques that I have to use to make the most of them.
So that's everything we've learned about Pragmata. Obviously, we got to see some other Capcom games, and you know, stick around for the show. You're going to see more of that. And on our YouTube channel, you can check out more of our thoughts on Resident Evil Requiem and on Emusha, Way of the Sword. But for everything else, Gamescom 2025, stick with IGN.
Whether it's your first journey into medieval Bohemia or you're a long-time veteran, there's never been a better time to jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Step into the greaves of Henry of Skalitz, who's on a quest to avenge his murdered parents, taking him from aspiring warrior to rebel for a journey full of countless adventures. Experience an authentic medieval action RPG with immersive first-person combat full of visceral, clashing steel. Prefer to get up close and personal? Attack from horseback. How about knocking a few arrows? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 encourages you to play your way and shape Henry the way you see fit. The Legacy of the Forge DLC adds Henry's home, featuring your very own forge, private quarters, and design customization for over 100 million combinations. You'll also make your return to Kuttenberg, where you'll uncover the hidden parts of your father's life, rise through the ranks and become the master of the blacksmithing guild, unlock unique blueprints for armor and weapons, and help the citizens with some quirky requests as you continue Henry's journey of discovery. Let's take a look.
Honored friends, masters of the blacksmith's guild, let me introduce a young master of our craft and new owner of Gutenberg's old forge, Henry of Skalitz.
Ready? We can begin. The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection to the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Experience the sprawling metropolis of Hethro in NTE, Neverness to Everness, a free-to-play open-world RPG full of supernatural phenomena and anomalies. As a member of the Bureau of Anomaly Control, you'll use your Esper abilities to traverse the skylines and streets in search of enemies interrupting day-to-day life. Your roster of Bureau of Anomaly Control agents each have unique abilities to help them explore the city, capitalize on enemy weaknesses, and synergize to unleash devastating attacks. Pre-registration for NTE is open now. Let's take a look at the trailer for NTE.
We're here at Gamescom 2025, more specifically in front of a beautiful Onimusha Way of the Swords stand. We've managed to play the game, a small little snippet. Matt, what did you think of Onimusha?
I must confess I've not played any of the PS2 games, but I know roughly what their deal was. It does feel like they have kind of reinvented it for kind of like the modern day. And yeah, I think it's really going to work in what feels now like a golden age of swordplay games. We've had Sekiro kind of like in the last few years and Ghost of Tsushima that really raised the bar on what those kind of games were, and I feel like this is probably going to join them. It felt like it got really sharp, satisfying swordplay.
Yeah, I must confess, I'm not really a Souls-like guy at all. So when I started playing it, my initial fear was, oh my god, am I going to be punished for this because I don't have experience with these games? But that wasn't the case at all. It found like it came quite natural. The parry window was huge. And I guess the thing for me is I immediately felt like a badass with that sword, and I mean, that's what I want. Like, how did you feel about it as someone who loves Souls-like games?
Yeah, so it may have Souls in it, as anyone will know from like the PS2 days, but it's not a Souls-like. And I think the great thing is it feels like it has definitely been made for action fans rather than Souls-like fans. And sure, it does have, like, as you say, parries, and it is a game that requires skill with your blade, but the parry windows are generous. The block is an omnidirectional block, so even if enemies are coming from behind you, all you've got to do is hold down L1 and you will block behind you. All of these kind of make you feel more like you're very engaged in a way that is not quite the same tactical level as a Souls-like, but ultimately makes that sort of thrill like accessible to a lot more types of players.
Yeah. And like the original Onimusha games that, like you mentioned earlier, there's souls collecting. So from your quick playtime, what did we summarize on how that works?
Right, so there are 3 different colored souls.
Okay.
There are red ones, there are blue ones, and there are yellow ones. The yellow ones are easy. They heal you.
Okay.
So basically, if you can create yellow souls, and you can use different weapons to create different souls out of the enemies. So if you can create yellow souls, that'll heal you mid-battle rather than having to use a healing pouch. Then there are the red ones, which are your classic kind of, you pick those up, and you'll get to spend those, I presume, like at an armorer or an upgrade station. We didn't get to see that in-game, so I can't tell you like what new sword you can get or what new kind of health upgrades. And then you get the blue ones that power your Oni meter. Now this is what allows you to do even cooler abilities than just your standard kind of like attack or heavy attack. And these use special weapons that only get used in that attack. In the demo we got to use the 2 Celestials, which were these kind of twin daggers, and their purpose was to drop yellow souls.
Yeah.
So basically collect blue souls to use that special attack. That creates yellow souls that heals you, and you're only going to use that attack against like enemies that are basically doing damage to you anyway. So you start to see that cycle kind of kick in where it's like kill enemies to heal yourself to move on.
Yeah, and as someone who, I mean, we both love Doom Eternal, but someone who specifically loves Doom Eternal, that's a system that you really enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, anything that, it's weird, like this is a game that's like weirdly about managing meters, because every enemy has kind of like a posture meter, right? Like, and so you have to kind of battle through that posture meter to then do damage against them, and you have a posture meter, they need to break your posture before they start doing like big damage on you. And this sounds like it's like quite a mathematical game, like it might be boring, but exactly like Doom Eternal, in the moment, you forget about the fact there's all of this maths ticking on in the background. It just feels really wicked to basically parry an enemy and then instantly decapitate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the posture meter, we got a good example of that of the boss that we got to play in the demo. And we say it's not Souls-like, but from my point of view, like, you know, that sure looks like a Souls boss setup. However, it was like relatively simple to take on, yet that doesn't mean it wasn't fun. It was definitely fun, but the boss didn't necessarily pose much of a challenge, would you say?
Yeah, so Ganryu, I don't think he's going to go down in like the pantheon of the greatest boss battles ever. However, I think he works as like a really good promise as what Onimusha might be delivering, because yeah, this is a fight that I guess if you were to compare it to a Sekiro fight, it's a bit like the Genichiro fight in that it's got a lot of kind of like, you're in a small kind of temple area, there's a lot of kind of like swipes, he'll do big kind of leaps and come down at you, and you have to defend against them. And basically it is about damaging his posture to the point where you can do kind of a mid-battle kind of, for lack of a better term, death blow, and then you fight through the next posture meter to get to his kind of like defeating blow. And so yeah, there is a bit of that kind of Souls-like element to it, and you certainly, as I say, you required skill. There's a meter in the game which like the more you parry, the more it builds.
Yeah.
And if you can build a successful parry chain, your sword sets on fire, all these blue sparks, and you do way more damage. And if you can keep successfully parrying, you keep that buff going, so it really rewards you for that. And I feel like that boss fight was a really good example of like, keep that parry chain up, you know, ensure you're on top of every move that he does. And so it is about learning those moves that he can do, but you get completely rewarded for it, and then yeah, like you get a really rewarding conclusion to that fight.
from this demo, like, I've gone from someone who, like, I played Onimusha back in the day, but I can't say I was like clamoring for it to come back. But I find myself now really excited to play this game, and I think it's because, for me anyway, it just feels like I'm in a constant state of being rewarded for my actions, and then I'm being rewarded by getting to do cool things.
Oh yeah, like this is a game where kind of like at the moment you do like a good parry against normal enemies, that tends to open them up for these really, really slick takedown moves, which is decapitations or cutting arms off, and they will chain together. So if you can like exhaust 2 enemies simultaneously, you get to do a 1-2 kind of like double stab. It is really slick, really stylish, and yeah, it doesn't feel punishing, it feels rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. So there's so much more to talk about Onimusha, but I think that wraps us up there. Be sure to keep watching Gamescom 2025 coverage for all sorts of Capcom games, and probably more Onimusha as well.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're watching Gamescom Studio right here on IGN. Coming up, we are getting the lay of the land and a couple upcoming city builders, pioneers of Pagonia and Rave. And if you need something a little more fast-paced, we're also going boots on the ground with the authentic World War I shooter Gallipoli. All that and more coming up right here on Gamescom Studio. Stick around.
Our world has been ripped apart since the fog arrived. Traversing the seas between the new islands is a perilous endeavor. The fog covers the land and all the dangers lurking there, but as yet, we have no idea of its origins. No one knows if our leaders are still alive, but if anyone can find them, we can. We will track down our lost tribes and face the dangers that lie in wait for us. After all, we're pioneers. We must work together to combat the threats emerging from the fog, vile creatures poisoning the land of Pagonia. Our mission is to be brave, to craft, build, and grow together by using all the resources we can find. But we must beware of strange whispers that corrupt even the purest of souls. We will explore this new world together and make Pagonia a safe home for all of us, once again. Take up the tools, pioneers. There's still so much to do.
Ah, the humble beginnings of a Raven Kingdom. A modest village, a handful of hopeful foxfolk, and enough ambition to power a windmill. And who, might I ask, is in charge of all this? Oh, it's you. Well then, best of luck. These little go-getters, they're called Ravens. Fuzzy little dreamers with big ideas, bigger opinions, and the occasional existential crisis. Build how you like. New grids, no rules. Stick a bakery next to a blacksmith? Brilliant. Now you're thinking like a monarch. But beware, there's more to the world than just within the city walls. And for a kingdom to thrive, a ruler must look to the horizon. After all, there's a whole world out there to build. Expand and settle the world with multiple cities and build your empire. Arrange trade between your cities and help them flourish. Nights bring more than stargazing. Train your guards, sharpen your spears. Build your empire in a variety of biomes and bring diversity to your burgeoning realm. And maybe don't build your town next to that forest. Then look to your borders. Send out expeditions to uncover ruins, resources, and secrets across the world. Encounter other sentient civilizations. Engage in diplomacy, trade, alliances, or even conflict as your kingdom takes its place in a larger world. Appoint governors, specialize cities, trade with noble otters. Ignore the crow ambassador's passive-aggressive notes, and just when you've got one town sorted, you'll build another, then 2 more. Then you forget which one makes soap and which one's on fire.
a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN store has you covered. You'll also find hats, jewelry, action figures, board games, model kits, art books, and even snacks. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN GameScoop.
GameScoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
LEGO Voyagers is a new two-player co-op adventure about two friends on a mission to rescue an abandoned spaceship and embark on a journey beyond their wildest dreams. Experience life as a Lego brick. Tumble, jump, snap together, and build your way through rich brick worlds in this poetic, non-verbal narrative set in beautiful brick-built environments supported by an atmospheric soundtrack. Invite a friend to your adventure for free with the Friends Pass. As long as one of you owns LEGO Voyagers, you can both experience the full co-op experience together. Let's take a look.
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. Gamescom is a great time, but it also supports some great causes. We want to shout out Playing for the Planet. It's an alliance of game studios, publishers, and industry organizations facilitated by the United Nations Environmental Programme. The Alliance supports its members, reducing their carbon footprint, and inspires players around the world to do their part for the planet.
That's right. Each year, the Alliance runs the Green Game Jam, where studios create games that let players engage with environmental topics. This year's jam focuses on nature and has already raised more than $275,000 for some great causes and secured 1.3 million square meters of natural habitat for protection.
If you're here at Gamescom, you can show your support by taking part in Playing for the Planet's Epics Quest. If you're watching from home, you can help by participating in the All In for Nature campaign. Find out more by heading to playingfortheplanet.org.
Coming up in a little bit, we're checking out the medieval zombie survival horror, God Save Birmingham.
But before that, we'll be getting a close look at two of this fall's biggest forquels, Borderlands 4 and Ninja Gaiden 4, or as I like to call them, Forderlands and Ninja Forden.
That second one doesn't really roll off the tongue. I hope
really.
they make a fifth one, because Ninja Fiveton is much better. Anyway, up next, we got the latest entry in a series that's had a really good track record of just hiding numbers in its sequel titles, Resident Evil Requiem. The Q in Requiem is actually a 9, but it's silent.
It's a Reneinquiem.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, we'll all be quiet too. Here's Resident Evil.
We're here at Gamescom 2025. More specifically, we're in front of a dilapidated RPD station, which can only mean one thing. We're talking about Resident Evil Requiem. Myself and Matt here, we've managed to play a small dose of it, just a very small, like 15 to 20 minute section of it. Matt, what did you think?
So this demo was entirely about one thing, and that was getting away from a brand new Stalker enemy. We've had the likes of Jack Baker, we've had the likes of Lady Dimitrescu. Now we've got, well, I don't even really know what she's called, but she is this horrendous. Imagine if Gollum had been injected with Bane serum and turned into a huge, hulking creature that can decapitate with its own teeth. That is what we had to run away from in this small section of a hospital.
Yeah, it's a very, and you say small section, it's a very small section. It's like one long hallway and then a couple of rooms. Not really much room to outrun like a lumbering stalker. Like, she can barely fit in the space as well. Like, she's hunchback, she's like squeezing through these environments, and you can hear her shambling the entire time. But it felt like a little bit of a fresh take on a Stalker to me. Like, do you agree?
Yeah, I think whereas kind of like, for example, Lady Dimitrescu, I guess the most recent one that we've had, the way that she followed you around kind of like the castle in Resident Evil Village was fairly standard, like she ran behind you, whereas this, I think there's almost a little bit more of something like Alien Isolation in there. The Stalker is able to kind of go up into the roof space and crawl across and cut you off in areas. It also has kind of the elements that Jack Baker had, where she can burst through doors, which creates new routes that you can loop around. But yeah, it does feel like genuinely like this is a step up. This is the next way of making the Mr. X kind of theory even more sort of like terrifying, even more inventive in the way that it forces you to think about the space.
I mean, interestingly, you mentioned about bursting through the door there, but we both played the game and we both saw like different versions of that. So for me, it was very much a Jack Baker. I came out and burst through. But for you, you decided to take different routes, and that didn't necessarily happen organically like it did for me.
Yeah, I think basically there are definitely trigger points, I think, for the Stalker to be able to do certain things. But if you don't pass that trigger point and you move around the environment in a different way, then suddenly things aren't happening, which doesn't unlock routes for you. So like you say, if you walk down that corridor and she bursts through the door, suddenly you've created a loop between a room and a corridor. Well, I moved a different way, and that route didn't exist for me, which meant that ultimately I actually got trapped by the Stalker and had to find a different way out because I was really up against the wall. I'd not got that door to escape through. And so I think kind of like seeing how that Stalker, particularly presuming we get her in a larger environment than we did in this demo, I think there will be like lots of interesting kind of challenges for you to face because of the way it works with the environment.
Yeah, it's really interesting. One of my favorite touches of the new Stalker, though, what we've seen, is that she reacts to light, like light burns her skin, and I think they've really used this in a clever way to abolish one of the stranger things about a Stalker in previous games. So if you might have seen memes of Mr. X trying to come into your safe room and peeking his head in, but then all of a sudden decides, oh no, I can't go in that room. Well, now they've found like a law, like an actual logic reason. If she comes into your room with a bright like room light, her skin will burn and she'll retreat. And it's just those little touches that make it feel like potentially this could be a Stalker of the ages.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing is whereas this demo didn't have like a classic safe room, right? It had rooms with the big lights on that you knew would be safe. But sometimes it'll pull a trick on you where you go into that room and the light smashed out, and suddenly it's like the place that you thought was safe, the place where you thought, I'll get like 2 or 3 seconds to just get away from this creature, rethink what my plan is, suddenly that room is no longer safe. And I think that like playing with your expectations, a lot like Resi has done all the way through its history, particularly with the remakes, is use your expectations and then pull the carpet from under you. I think it does that very well.
Yeah, so interestingly, the rest of the demo, there was a lot of things that felt very familiar. There was a lot of collecting keys for doors. There was all sorts of that stuff. But one thing that was quite unique, well, at least for a release Resident Evil, is that you could play this in either first or third person. You could just go into the menu and switch it any time you wish. Which way did you prefer?
So I'm actually a real big fan of like Resi's pivot into first person. That's, I've found, really increased the fear aspects, and so I played the demo all the way through in first person, and that definitely really worked for me because it really narrows kind of like your vision. And that creates very bespoke kind of like created scares. There's a moment where you go into a room and you're trying to push a cart around and bits are falling off the cart, and as you do that, because of the way your frame of vision is like honed, you see like the shadow of this creature walking past the window. And when I replay the demo with kind of like in third person and play through that section again, I didn't quite get the same scare because the way that the angle is opened up and really where Grace is in the frame covered that up.
Yeah.
However, you do get benefits for playing in third person. Dale, I know that you played a lot more of the demo in third person than me, and you were talking about the bespoke animations that has.
Yeah, so I mean, in all honesty, I prefer first person for these as well. However, I really wanted to see what it was like in third person, and when we were looking back and comparing what we did, we noticed that the third person like has very bespoke animations. Very specifically, when you're in first person, you're running away. It's just you're beelining down a corridor. But when you're in third person, Grace sometimes will trip and stumble and fall. And I feel like that was a really clever way of adding some horror elements, making you a bit scared. I think there's something when the threat is so looming in first person, it feels way more intimidating. So third person inherently can feel a little less scary. However, I think tripping and falling is an excellent example of how they've really thought about how do we make it scary in third person as well. And it's a little touch I really appreciate.
I think the other thing that was really cool is the fact that it's not just that third person is kind of an option like it was when they added it into Resident Evil Village. It kind of felt like it was there as a concession. Now it's definitely woven in those two viewpoints. And so there are cutscenes where the camera will go into the back of Grace's head and do things in first person, but there are also cutscenes that are bespokely made to be in third person. It feels like it's a really coherent package this time around.
Absolutely, and I hope we get to see tons more of that in the final game when it comes out in 2026. But for everything else, all Capcom games are Resident Evil. Let's keep watching at Gamescom 2025.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. From Dawn of the Dead to Dead Rising, there's plenty of zombie fiction that takes place in shopping centres, but so far, none of it has also taken place in the Middle Ages. Here to tell us about God Save Birmingham, creative director Hyung Song Cha and content manager Gwyn Kim will be translating. Hi. Now, no offence to our UK audience, but why Birmingham and why not Paris or Berlin or London?
파리나 베를린, 런던 같은 도시가 아니라 어째서 버밍엄을 선택하셨는지에 대한 질문이 나왔습니다.
네, 저희가 참 많이 듣는 질문인데요. 저희도 중세 시대를 배경으로 한 좀비 서바이벌 게임을 기획했을 때 가장 먼저 고려했던 도시들이 파리, 런던 같은 현대 유럽 도시들의 가장 큰 수도 도시들이었는데요. 다만 저희가 그것에 대한 리서치를 시작했을 때 그 도시들은 이미 중세 시대에도 굉장히 큰 도시였었습니다. 저희의 개발팀이 그렇게까지 큰 편은 아니기 때문에 저희가 제작을 충분히 할 수 있는 규모의 도시를 선정했어야 됐었고, 그래서 현재까지도 명맥이 유지되는 아주 유명한 도시이나 중세 시대에는 그렇게까지 크지 않았던 도시를 중심으로 다시 리서치를 시작했고, 그 리서치의 후보 중에 하나가 버밍엄이었는데, 버밍엄 뮤지엄에서 아주 좋은 역사 사료를 유튜브에 공개해 주셨습니다. 그 사료를 확인해 보고 이 자료가 우리 게임을 만드는 데 굉장히 많이 도움이 되겠다 해서 그 결정적인 역할을 해서 버밍엄을 선택하게 되었습니다.
So when the team decided to create a zombie survival based in the Middle Ages, they actually did consider those cities like London, Paris, Berlin, those famous capitals in many countries. During research, though, they learned that those cities were still pretty sizable even back in Middle Ages, and considering the size of the dev team, which is not too big, they felt the scope would be a little bit beyond what they could manage. So they did another set of research to find a city that's still famous, still around, and was around back in the Middle Ages, but of more of a manageable size that they could handle. And during that process, they found a YouTube video posted by the Museum of Birmingham, and while they watched it and took a close look at it, they felt that would tremendously help them create the city for the game, and that's how they decided with Birmingham.
And so it sounds like you started with the Middle Ages before the city. So what is it about that time period that made you want to create the game there?
그래서 기획 단계에서부터 중세를 고려하셨던 것으로 보이는데 중세를
네.
선택하게 된 이유가 있다면 설명 부탁드리겠습니다.
아, 네. 저희 좀비물의 굉장한 팬으로서 저는 또 더 처절하고 어려운 그런 환경에서 살아남는 좀비 게임을 만들고 싶었는데, 네, 그쵸. 현대적인 총기라든지 그런 엔진의 힘을 빌릴 수 없는 중세 시대를 고려하게 되었습니다.
So, as a big fan of zombie games himself, Hyunsung was intending to create a zombie survival game that's even more desperate, even more difficult, and wanted to choose a time period where you can't find the modern firearms or like engine or motor driven tools or power tools. So he decided to choose the Middle Ages for that.
So, what are we going to do about the zombies? Without all those kind of modern gadgets and shotguns and chainsaws, how do we fight back?
샷건이나 전기톱 같은 그
네.
현대 도구들 없이 어떻게 좀비와 싸울 수 있을지에 대한 질문이었습니다.
네. 우선적으로는 게임에서 제공하는 중세의 많은 냉병기들을 잘 활용할 수 있어야 되고요. 저희는 그런 무기들의 카테고리마다 다양한 메커니즘을 제공해 줄 예정이라 그런 무기별 메커니즘을 플레이어가 잘 익히고 적재적소에 잘 사용하는 게 가장 주된 점이고요. 그리고 저희의 그 적극적으로 활용하고 있는 피직스 엔진에 의해서 게임 속의 많은 사물들을 자유롭게 물리적으로 들어옮기고 던지고 할 수 있습니다. 그런 것들을 활용해서 좀비를 넘어뜨린다거나 그리고 좀비의 접근을 막는 등 이렇게 적극적으로 활용해서 좀비에 대적할 수 있습니다.
So the game will be providing various cold weapons, and each weapon category would have its own set of mechanics tied to it. So the player would need to learn how to use them and use them well in the right place, in the right time. That would be one way to do it. And also the game uses the physics engine features extensively. So a lot of the objects in the game can be thrown around or carried or like placed they can be moved around and placed strategically. So you can also block zombies from getting close to you or even like trip them over. Use them in various ways to keep them away, or keep them at bay and ensure your survival.
Yeah, I think I saw some good cabbage throwing footage that I'm excited about. So you said you're a fan of zombie games. What do you think has been missing from the genre until now?
네, 좀비 게임 팬이라고 하셨는데
네네.
그 여태껏 있었던 좀비 게임들에서 이건 있었으면 좋겠다 했는데 아직 없던 요소가 있다면 무엇이 있을까요?
대체로 좀비 게임들에서는 좀비와 캐릭터의 상호작용을 그 사전에 제작된 애니메이션 형태로 다루는 케이스가 많은데, 그리고 실제로 게임 속에서는 거의 그럴 수밖에 없기도 하고요. 그래서 좀비가 캐릭터를 공격하거나 이럴 때 주변에 다른 좀비들이 그 상황을 그냥 봐주고 있는 등의 이런 묘사가 좀 일어나는데, 저는 그 부분이 좀 아쉬웠어요. 좀비는 이제 수많은 나를 둘러싼 좀비들이 나를 동시에 붙잡고 엉겨붙으면서 나를 물어뜯으려고 하는 그런 묘사를 굉장히 하고 싶었는데 게임에서는 미처 그럴 수가 없어서 저는 그것을 조금 더 발전시키고 싶어서 절차적 애니메이션을 통해서 좀비의 그런 많은 좀비들의 동시적인 공격이나 물어뜯음을 묘사할 수 있는 형태로 게임 메커니즘을 만들었습니다.
So, yes, one of the things that he found missing was that a lot of the zombie games, when the player is or the character is interacting with the zombies, it's usually using a pre-scripted animation set where it creates cases like if the player is getting attacked by one zombie, there are a bunch of the rest of the horde is just looking at them, and he felt he wanted to create an experience where the entire horde is coming at you, like kind of trying to grapple you and bite you. So he has created a way of having procedural animation where multiple zombies can try to grab and bite you at the same time.
Oh, well, I mean, that sounds terrifying. So I can't wait to experience that. And it must be pretty special being able to create a game that does all that. So I can't wait to play it.
이게 또 무서운 부분이기도 하고 아무래도 그런 게임을 플레이하게 되는 걸 기대하고 있다고 그런 얘기는.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. God Save Birmingham is targeting an early access release sometime in 2026, so add it to your Steam wishlist right now on the official Gamescom Steam event. There's more Gamescom Studio on the way after this.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN Store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Kick back and relax to some of the best game soundtracks ever pressed on limited edition vinyl. Or level up your whole wardrobe with a massive selection of officially licensed apparel. From iconic properties like Star Wars and The Legend of Zelda to newer fan favorites like Atomfall and Expedition 33, the IGN Store has you covered. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. Next month, the original looter shooter is back. Here to tell us what fans have to look forward to in Borderlands 4 is founder and president of Gearbox Software, Randy Pitchford. What's up, Randy?
Hey, we're at Gamescom. That's what's up.
That is it. Gamescom is what is up. Randy, Borderlands is almost here.
I know.
It's almost here.
I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out.
I bet. Now, I do have to put the screws to you for a little bit. 30 billion guns, that was all you guys could do this time around? Take it a little easy, right?
It's not about a number. Yeah. No, it's weird. You know, we've been making these Borderlands games. Some of the guys on the team and I have been working on Borderlands for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Starting to get pretty good at it. But we've got these systems that we've evolved, you know, that let us procedurally generate the weapons. And so we're not shooting for a particular number, but in this go around with the guns, we came up with this pretty fun idea that we call licensed parts. So some of the manufacturers in this capitalist Borderlands world will license their technology to the other manufacturers. So you can get TDR weapons that can have guns with legs, or Malio-1 weapons that have elemental effects, and those abilities can be licensed to the other manufacturers. So you might get, say, an Atlas weapon that's got all these other functions from the other man. It's really, really cool, and it leads to just more combinations, more possibilities for gameplay.
More time to grind and get that perfect weapon.
Well, that's the thing, right? Everyone's got for their build the perfect piece of loot they're after.
Yeah. So, like we're talking about weapons, Borderlands is known for its guns. We've had guns that talk, we've had guns that walk, we've had guns that shoot poop, that shoot food. What's one of the really cool things we're getting in Borderlands 4?
You want the weird stuff?
Yeah, what's the weird? Let's go weird.
Fish grenades? I don't know.
Are those fish that are grenades, or the grenades blow up into fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Either one. Oh, crazy stuff. But you know, one of the things that I love is speaking of grenades, we kind of recaptured the grenade button, and we now call that ordnance. So not only can you slot grenades in there, you can slot all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Massive miniguns and big rocket launchers, even like throwing knives, all kinds of weird stuff that you've never seen, weapons you've never seen in a Borderlands game before are now part of that, and they kind of work almost like a new action skill in addition to your hero characters' action skills, which of course, there's a ton of those too, so lots of combinations.
No, it's very cool. Like, I really love the idea that we're going to be able to really change our playstyle based on what ordnance we have set in that slot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of like, depending on what you slot into it, like some people use it for things that can kind of get them out of a situation. I like to use it for things that are just, they're on cooldown, but when I press it, it's because I love feeling powerful. I just want to feel like a badass when I play Borderlands.
Go big or go home.
Right.
Speaking of badass, our badass rank's going to be returning in this round?
We got something along those lines.
Okay.
It's, we always push boundaries and we always try things. I think what we've got is an upgrade from that. But yeah, there's, with every Borderlands game, we've always teetered with different types of innovation. One of the cool things about having this be the 4th game is we have now all kinds of places where we've kind of, that game we went too far here, or we went, and now we kind of know where the bullseyes are.
Yeah.
So, we've really kind of honed in on the best of the best. But some of the systems we love, we'll iterate, improve on, and tweak a little bit. And Badass Rank's one of those systems.
Nice. Now, we've seen a few of our Vault Hunters in action. We've seen Vex, Rafa, and Amon. But we haven't seen Harlow. When's Harlow getting her time to shine with all her background
You know
stuff?
what's funny about Harlow is I'm like right now I think she's my favorite Vault Hunter. So maybe we've been holding out, saving her for the end. But she's really, really awesome. I've been playing Harlow a lot lately. What's funny is when we started with Harlow, I think when we did our first introduction of all the 4 Vault Hunters, they all have different cosmetics and different kinds of heads and skins, and there was a really nerdy head that was on her for that first appearance. And then I started playing her a lot. I'm like, dude, I'm a nerd. I don't want to have the nerd. I don't want to I want to play like the badass. So we kind of switched to one of the other heads and gave her these really cool glasses and messed with her look now is just fire. I love it. But she has awesome crowd control abilities, which chain together in really unique ways depending on how you build your skills out. So I've been having a lot of fun with her. It's weird because I was certain, earlier in development when I was spending most of my time with Vex that was going to be my character, but now I'm pretty sure it's going to be Harlow.
I've been a Siren main every single Borderlands game, and I was like, but Harlow looks so cool.
If you like phase locking and that kind of crowd control gameplay, you're probably going to be a Harlow player.
Okay. Yeah. We actually have some Harlow gameplay up right now. So yeah, can you just kind of talk about some of the things that we're seeing the footage of this Harlow doing?
Oh yeah, so right now we're actually in a run up to a boss fight, which is a pretty gnarly fight. You can see a couple of, let's see, it looks like she's actually got, I don't have my glasses on. I can't quite see what it looks like. There might be a throwing knife in the ordnance slot. But I don't have my glasses on, so forgive me if I'm...
No worries. But it is a throwing knife, yeah.
Yeah, let's see if whoever's playing does the action skill. This is the run-up to a really awesome Wicked boss fight. Look, there's... Oh, okay, so she's using the Powerball. It's stunned him. There's also versions that can lock, ones that bounce around. There's lots of different ways that she can use these gravity balls. Her class is a Gravatar, and she uses science. She doesn't need magic that sirens use. She uses science and her inventions to have different effects on the battlefield. So with this particular build, you're going to see a lot of not just. It's kind of a combination between suppression and damage dealing with the way this version of the gravity balls are being used. My favorite are just pure locking and crowd control. Suspensions, I like holding enemies in the air for me. I like some of the moves can automatically bounce the gravity balls from enemy to enemy. And you notice in this one too, it'll time dilate. Let's see if it's on cooldown right now. We got another 30 seconds, but it can surround an enemy and slow them down to almost nothing. And it also slows down bullets, which is kind of cool too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is looking just like my kind of character, so I can't wait to get hands-on with Harlow. Now, back in pre-sequel, there was a lot of multiplayer interaction that you could have with the other Vault Hunters. Are we going to see any of that kind of? I know you talked about tweaking stuff and going back things.
One of the boldest, scariest decisions I made when we were working on Borderlands 3 was to insist that we render all of our cutscenes in the engine in real time. Before that, even in pre-sequel, all of our cutscenes were pre-rendered and they just played as videos. when we made the decision, we weren't sure if we were going to pull it off. I said, we're going to do it. If we can, we're going to ship with it. But we're definitely going to try. But because we weren't sure if we could ship with it, we made the decisions to not include the Vault Hunters in the cutscenes, because if you don't see your character, it's kind of weird. You know? I'm glad we made that decision, though, because we did pull it off. We did successfully get to the point where we can now render everything in real time. So now in Borderlands 4, all of the Vault Hunter, whatever Vault Hunter you're playing, is in the cutscene, which gives us the ability to integrate the Vault Hunters themselves, the player characters, in more of the story. They all have unique dialogue. They all have unique characterizations and interactions, not just with the NPCs, but even with each other if you're playing in co-op. And we've pushed that part of the simulation farther than we've ever pushed it before. And it's kind of fun, too, because as you know, with the customizations, there's all kinds of weird costumes and outfits people can wear. Those show up in the cutscenes too, so go crazy if you want to break the game and have some really funny interactions. It's absolutely possible.
I plan on breaking the game as much as possible.
It's part of the fun of Borderlands to break the game.
It really is. Now, Borderlands no stranger to having tons of missions. How many missions are we looking at in Borderlands 4?
Well, I will tell you that there's a very, very healthy main campaign. I'm not going to tell you the exact number of missions, but all of the things that are like critical path that are necessary for the main storyline, it's about the length of what you would expect if you've played past Borderlands games. But with the side quests and the side missions, we have not just double down, but triple down. There's like a multitude more than we've ever done before. So many, and you could do them or not. They're all totally optional. Some of them are just quick little, almost instantaneous little fun side things. Others are full drawn out adventures, the length of some of our DLCs, all for just a side quest outside of the main story beat. So there's a lot to do. And that's because it's the biggest game we've ever made. We made this seamless world. You know, finally technology has caught up to our ambitions. You could tell when you play even early Borderlands games that we've always wanted a wide open world, but we haven't been able to do it. We've always had to, narrow things out and make a little junction point with a cutscene or with a loading time, mostly with loading times, which sucks because you're waiting to play the game. You're waiting for the technology to catch up. In Borderlands 4, the hardware and the software we've developed and our use of Unreal Engine has caught up to our ambition. So now it's a wide, seamless world. And with that, we populate it. So in addition to main storylines and side quests, there's all kinds of other activities that are dynamic and just sort of happen, and little things to do that you could discover and immerse yourself with as you explore the Borderlands.
So, the vision is always it's always seemed like it's wanted to go push further and further, and you guys have been doing each iteration.
Thanks. Yeah, we try. We are, and sometimes we push too far, but I think that's part of, we're artists, and it's part of what goes with it.
Art, it evokes emotion and such. And
you can feel. You could feel the Gearbox team. You could feel us in our games. We're all in there, and for better or for worse. But we definitely commit ourselves to it. And I'm hoping. I know for me, as someone who loves entertainment in a world where everything's getting more and more digital and things can be AI generated, that I actually appreciate more when I could feel the human craftsmanship, the handmade work, and I don't know, it feels really good. And when I have so many people on the team, like for me, one of the reasons why I love to play solo a lot, and co-op's fun, but I want, there's beauty just under a rock with an artist that's painted the little doodles.
Just getting that chance to kind of explore it yourself. Yeah. Now, speaking of evoking emotion and such like that, the $80 comment around games. I got to ask you about it. Do you worry that approach is going to be detrimental to the potential success of Borderlands?
What approach?
The $80, the conversation around the $80 game gamers will find
I think that whole thing is a byproduct of something I'm kind of I think is important, which is, I am on Twitter and I'm accessible. And anyone could, I'm at Duval Magic on Twitter, and anyone in the world could message me, and I reply, and I use the platform for what it's worth. Now, it was really interesting, right? Because, there's a conversation that happens, which, let's be honest, the sum of all social media talk and the sum of every article written about that doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't. At the end of the day, as all of us do, when we approach entertainment, we think about what it is that we want and what it is they're asking of us. And if we want something and it feels like a fair price or whatever the barrier is, then we explore it and we engage in it. And if it doesn't feel fair, we step away.
Yeah.
And both Gearbox and Take-Two and 2K have always had the attitude of, we want to make sure in every case that whenever we're making entertainment with people, and whatever it costs, that whoever's getting it feels like they got the better end of the deal, that the value that they're getting for whatever they're spending is better. And I think we've always lived up to that.
I agree.
Now,
I think you guys have really done that with like your
Yeah.
DLCs and extra expansions in previous Borderlands. Like I've always felt like I've gotten the value in
Thank
the
you.
hours I've put into those.
Thank you.
So.
And I do know something about the game. I've been working on Borderlands 4 for
I
6
hope
years.
so.
It's amazing value. The truth is, when we designed the model and when we built everything, like it all makes sense. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And the price isn't up to me anyway. I was just engaging in a conversation that was happening
for sure.
on the internet.
And that's been a conversation that's been happening.
And it's an
for a lot of
interesting
the games.
conversation.
It is.
For any given product, the conversation doesn't matter. I'm really, as an artist, I'm thrilled that my partners, that Take-Two and 2K decided to sell Borderlands for the same price that we sold Borderlands 3 for, not raise the price with some other games, because I want everybody to play it. I want as many people as possible to play it. And, there might be a little bit of friction there for some people as prices go up. But I also know that from a value perspective, they probably could have charged 5 times as much, and it would have felt worth it. And some people might have been willing to pay that. I don't know if I would have, but
it's the maker of it. I'm not sure.
I want it to be as cheap as possible.
Hey,
though.
I'm right
You
there
know what
with
I mean?
you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, thank you so much. Borderlands 4 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC on September 12th, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch 2 on October 3rd. But right now, there's more Gamescom Studio right here on IGN.
Welcome to the biggest gaming playground in the world, where 500,000 people come together to play, connect, and celebrate across Cologne. 1,500 exhibitors, the biggest names in the gaming industry, bringing countless games for you to explore and dominate. And we're just getting started. Ready to jump into some gameplay? Then get set for Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring the major announcements and brand new game trailers. Less watching, more playing? Then stop by Gamescom's unique indie area, where you're in control of the most creative and unique projects from beloved indie studios. And if that's not enough, don't miss Gamescom Awesome Indies, our show featuring the hottest new titles from the scene. Or become the hero yourself and step into the Gamescom Cosplay Contest, bringing cosplayers and fans together from around the globe for an unforgettable community experience. Join live shows, esports tournaments, and creator events at the Gamescom Event Arena. Can't make it to Gamescom in person? Visit our website gamescom.global and experience all program highlights via our content hub, Gamescom Now. While you're there, make your voice count in the Gamescom Award. Vote for the most exciting games, groundbreaking products, and jaw-dropping innovations presented here at Gamescom. Do you remember our incredible friends and gaming experts from IGN? Of course, they're back, hosting full days of Gamescom studio live streams on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, hey, AP, crashing the party. You'll find our all-time favorite RPG Gamescom epics on our website. Join the community and grab your loot. Now moving on to something that is very important to us, our initiative Gamescom Cares. We want to shine a light on social and environmental responsibility. In order to reduce emissions, Gamescom runs on 100% renewable energy. Just as important, accessibility is key for us. Gamescom should be a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Speaking of inclusive spaces, the Gamescom City Festival is taking over the city with live music, awesome shows, and all kinds of fun. Did we mention? Entry to the City Festival is free for everyone. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to Gamescom.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow. Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
In Echoes of the End, you'll play as Rin, a vestige born with volatile magical power. When her brother is abducted by a brutal empire on the brink of war, Rin's journey to rescue him reveals a buried conspiracy that could reignite an ancient conflict and destroy her homeland. Master fast-paced tactical combat that fuses swordplay with devastating magical powers. Take on human and monstrous foes and face epic boss battles that demand strategy and skill. Control time and gravity as you explore a fragmented realm shaped by Iceland's raw beauty, from molten lava fields to frozen ruins. You'll also work closely with Abram, a haunted scholar, to fight, explore, and solve puzzles. Your connection grows throughout the game, shaping gameplay and story alike. Let's take a look.
When the time comes, wouldn't you rather have friends among your conquerors?
Dead men make poor conquerors.
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. If you're a fan of games about stealthy, sword-wielding assassins, 2025 has already been jam-packed, but one of the deadliest around is still waiting to strike. Here to tell us about Ninja Gaiden 4, producer, director Yuji Nakao, and global project manager Joe Muntel, who'll be translating. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Ninja Gaiden 4, this time around, we're following a new character named Yakumo. What can you tell us about Yakumo?
本作は新しい主人公ヤクモについて教えていただけますか？
そうですね。はい。今回の新しい主人公であるヤクモは竜ハヤブサが所属しているハヤブサの一族とは対極に位置する裏の一族として、満を持して登場します。で、このヤクモに関しては黒竜の祖先になっているので、その宿命を断ち切るために戦っていくことになるんですけど、その目的が竜と対立することによって竜との激闘が繰り広げられたりとか、その道行く敵、今回のメインの敵である竜神島だったりとかと戦うことになってしまうというそんな感じの物語になっています。
So the new protagonist Yakumo is a member of the Raven clan, which is a separate clan from Ryu Hayabusa's Hayabusa clan. And the Raven clan operates in the shadows of the Hayabusa clan, and Yakumo is on a mission to kill the Dark Dragon, which is the nemesis of Ninja Gaiden 4. And on the way to completing his mission, he will have to clash with Ryu Hayabusa, who has different motivations and objectives. And along the way, he'll also face off against the Divine Dragon Order, which you see him fighting many soldiers of the Divine Dragon Order in the footage that has been revealed up until this point.
I want to ask about Ryu in just a moment, but I think we're looking at the story trailer that you just debuted here at Gamescom. So tell us about what you wanted to do when you were telling this new story for Ninja Gaiden 4.
そうですね。昨日オープニングナイトライブでストーリートレーラーが公開されてたんですけども、本作のストーリー、についてもうちょっと具体的に、教えていただければと思いますけど。
はい。まず時代に関しては忍者ガイデン3からしばらく経ったある日なんですけど、もともと忍者ガイデンの過去シリーズで、何度か復活しては倒してを繰り返していた黒竜っていうのが、空に浮かぶ死体として、出てしまうことになります。でその封印を解いて、黒竜を倒すためにヤクモは、セオリっていうヒロインと共に進んでいくんですけれども、一方でその封印を竜ハヤブサだったり竜神島っていうのが守らないといけないというところから、目的が違うことによって戦ってしまうことになるということで、その黒竜にまつわる黒竜が渦巻く物語になっていくので、その黒竜が実際どうなっていくのかとか、竜ハヤブサとヤクモはどうなってしまうのか、どういう戦いになっていくのかっていうところが見どころかなと思います。
So Ninja Gaiden 4's story is, it's set against the backdrop of this Dark Dragon nemesis. So the Dark Dragon has appeared in prior Ninja Gaiden titles, and in Ninja Gaiden 4, the Dark Dragon has been defeated a number of times, but in Ninja Gaiden 4, its husk is floating in the sky, and it is not completely annihilated yet. So it's actually been sealed away, and in order to completely cleanse the world of the Dark Dragon, Yakumo sets out to release the seals that are sealing away the Dark Dragon. And to that end, he teams up with another character who's been revealed, the heroine Seori. And that is what leads to the clash with Ryu Hayabusa and the Divine Dragon Order, which their objective is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away because they're aware of the risks that will present themselves if they decide to release the seals that are sealing away this nemesis, the Dark Dragon.
So how did you decide to go with the new protagonist and make Ryu more of a supporting character this time around?
今回は新しい主人公ということになるので、役もメインっていう認識ですけども、それについてリュウハヤブサじゃなくて役もメインにしようと思ったきっかけについて教えていただけますか？
はい。今回チーム忍者さんとコラボレーションで、忍者ガイデン4を作っていくのにあたって、忍者ガイデン3からやっぱり時間がすごい経っているっていうところもあったりしたので、これから新しく忍者ガイデンを遊んでいただく方にもすっと受け入れてもらいたいなっていうところと、あとこれから新しい忍者ガイデンを作っていくっていうのにあたって、プレイヤーの目線で一緒に成長していけるキャラクターを作りたいっていうところからヤクモを入れることにしました。でただですね、もちろん忍者ガイデンのアイコンとなっているキャラクターとして竜ハヤブサっていうのはしっかり立っておりますので、ストーリーに関してもヤクモでプレイするパートもあれば竜でプレイするパートもあったりとかっていうところでしっかりと物語には絡めていくので、往年のファンの方に関してもご安心いただいてプレイしていただければなと思います。
So, since it's been such a long time since the last mainline entry in, Ninja Gaiden, we wanted to, make a fresh entry point for new players as well. And that's why we decided to introduce a new protagonist in the form of Yakumo, who players can, grow together with in this new game. But with that said, of course, Ryu Hayabusa is the Ninja Gaiden icon. So, players can rest assured that Ryu Hayabusa will have a strong presence in the story, and there are dedicated segments in the story for Ryu Hayabusa as well. So, fans of Ryu Hayabusa will definitely have a great time with they're playing through the story of Ninja Gaiden 4.
Well, fans of Ryu Hayabusa, like IGN users, Full Metal 6661 and Darkwing Spartan, would love to know, is Ryu's only weapon the Dragon Sword?
そうですね、ユーザーからの質問も聞いていますけども、竜の武器種についてですが、竜剣のみですかっていう質問ですが。
そうですね、今回竜ハヤブサに関しては竜剣を使って戦うことになります。で加えてですね、これまで過去作にあった忍法ですねを使い分けながら戦っていくことになります。で反対にヤクモに関しては これまで紹介した武器に加えて、それぞれの、カラスの型という通常状態と、ヌエの型っていう、ダイナミックな、技の数々っていうのを楽しめるので、その竜と役も両方を使って楽しんでもらえたらなというふうに思います。
So yeah, in Ninja Gaiden 4, Ryu's weapon in the base game will be the Dragon Sword. But in addition to the Dragon Sword, he'll also be able to seamlessly use his Ninpo, so you can switch between Ninpo on the fly while in combat. And with regards to Yakumo's weapon variety, he uses his Blood Raven form to transform his base weapons. So each weapon itself is a pair. So there's in total 8 weapon varieties, if you will. So you'll be able to experience a wide, breadth of weapon variety in the game with both characters.
So I don't think, in all the combat we've seen, I don't think we've seen any ranged combat except for shurikens. Will there be new ranged weapons for either Yakumo or Ryu?
そうですね、今までの映像だと遠距離の武器あまり見当たらなかったんですけども、それについてどうですかね。
そうですね、今回はですね、これまで使っていた多彩なアクションの中で、特にヌエの型っていうところに遠距離の技っていうのを集約しておりまして、基本的な操作の中で使える遠距離武器に関しては手裏剣のみになります。でただ昨日オープニングナイトライブで公開させてもらった映像の中で使っている新武器に関しては遠距離と近距離を両方使い分けて戦うっていう、非常にトリッキーな武器になっているので、こちらの武器は他の武器とまた違う経路になっているので、そういったところでその遠距離の遊びみたいのは十分に楽しめる形になっているかなと思います。
So in terms of long-range weapons, like you alluded to in your question, the main long-range weapon will be the shurikens. But using Yakumo's Blood Raven form, for example, each weapon has its own projectile techniques that you can use to attack enemies who are away from you. So each Blood Raven form has a long-range technique that you can use. But also, I invite players to look at the trailer that was revealed yesterday, where we revealed the Assassin's Tools weapon. So that weapon is kind of a jack of all trades, and you could really, be tricky because it has a lot of long-range options as well as close-range options.
Can you talk about how weapon upgrades work?
今回武器のアップグレードについて教えていただけますか？
武器のアップグレード、
多分武器の技についてですね。
そうですね。今回ですね、武器に関してはこれまでの忍者外伝アクションだったりとか、その基本的な操作に付随したものを習得できる体術っていうものと、あとそれぞれの武器に対する固有の必殺技みたいなものが存在します。でそのまず前者の体術に関してはステージの途中でアシストキャラクターに、お金を払って教えてもらいながらアクションを順次学んでいくっていうものになっていて、武器の方の特殊な技に関しては、戦闘で貯める武器の経験値を使って解放していくことになります。でそれぞれ体術の方は、忍者外伝ならではのアクションっていうのを取り揃えてて、武器の方に関しては、ある種プラチナゲームズならではのダイナミックなアクションの数々っていうのを楽しめるように住み分けているような形になっています。
Yeah, so the way progression works in Ninja Gaiden 4, there are combat skills and then there's weapon skills. So combat skills you'll be able to acquire from this character called Tyron, who you'll meet in each level, and you can use Ninja Coin, which is the in-game currency that you obtain just through general progression defeating enemies. And within those combat skills, you'll find those legacy, Ninja Gaiden techniques. It's where you can find your Izuna drop and your flying swallow that you'll, of course, be able to acquire at a very early point in the game because it doesn't cost much currency. And then separate from that, there are the weapon abilities that you can, open up the menu, select your weapon, and you'll see this huge, variety of weapon techniques that you can acquire using a separate currency. It's weapon experience, and that's where you'll find those, very dynamic Platinum Games-esque, over-the-top, stylish abilities.
One more quick question before we let you go. A lot of fans are excited to play Ninja Gaiden 4. Are there any plans to release a demo as we get closer to launch?
最後、になりますけども、発売に、近づいてて一般向けのデモ私有を出す予定があったりしますでしょうかっていう。
そうですね。今回ゲームズコムで初めて一般の私有になっていて、雑魚敵との戦闘っていう忍者ガイデンらしいプリミティブな体験から、今回から新しくさらに進化したボス戦まで楽しめるような形になってます。でこの後もですねちょっとまだ計画中ではあるんですけどいろいろな方に体験していただきたいので、そういった機会は積極的に考えていきたいなっていうふうに思っていますので、ぜひそちらもお楽しみにお待ちください。であと私有をしていただくと今ゲームズコムで私有していただくとこちらのピンバッジももらえますので、ぜひ皆さんはいこっちかなはいぜひプレイしてください。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, so right now, the general public who are visiting Gamescom, they'll be able to experience Ninja Gaiden 4, and the build we've prepared for the general public captures that kind of challenging, intense Ninja Gaiden experience. They'll be able to enjoy a boss fight as well. So we invite players to challenge themselves. With regards to future plans, we're still considering things, but we want to explore opportunities to allow more players to experience Ninja Gaiden ahead of launch. And if you do play the demo today, you'll be able to receive these pins of both Yakumo and Ryu. So if you're at Gamescom, please check out the demo and have fun.
Very cool. I'm excited to play. Thank you both so much. Ninja Gaiden 4 slices and dices this way on the Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and PC on October 21st. And right now, there's more Gamescom Studio here on IGN.
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. Up next, we're delving into an immersive 3D dungeon crawler developed by some veterans of the Gothic and Risen games, which may or may not involve some demon slaying. Here's Clarlin.
Who's in charge down here? You don't wanna know? Says who? Haven't you seen that cute, pretty statue in the Abyss Chamber? We better not talk about it too loud. They won't have ears, if you know what I mean. I think I've seen enough down here. I wonder who ties your shoes for you in the morning.
You're watching Gamescom Studio on IGN. We've just about reached the end of our day one coverage here at Gamescom, but don't worry, because we're just getting started here.
That's right. Tomorrow we've got brand new looks at some of the biggest games heading your way soon, like Hollow Knight Silksong, Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, the Order of the Giants DLC coming to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and The Outer Worlds 2, plus Deadpool VR, and so much more.
And if you're excited for anything that you've seen here at Gamescom, show some love to the developers by wishlisting their games on Steam. You can find everything we featured today and tons more in the official Gamescom Steam event, along with other games worth checking out you might not even know about.
But for now, that's a wrap on day one of Gamescom Studio on IGN. So, from all of us here at IGN, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you
You don't know.
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs, and finally find out where it ranks.